Saving Private Ryan is one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's directed by the legendary Steven Spielberg. What this movie is about seven guys that are on a side mission to rescue one of the Ryan brothers from the brink of war because he's lost three of his brothers to war already. So now what they're trying to do is scout out for him and save him. Let me just get to the whole. Whew, man, this movie was so damn good. Now, this is one of my favorite movies of all time, but it's hard for me to kind of say what my favorite movies are because I I have a whole list of movies that are great. But when I tell you anything with Steven Spielberg's name on it, it does something to me that uh it inspires me more seeing how his craft has just gotten better and better and better. Like to the haters out there, to Steven Spielberg, I don't know what to tell y'all. Okay, you're gonna just not like what you don't like. Now, is his record perfect? No, by any stretch of the means. And I don't think any director will sit here and proclaim all my movies are great. We all know all Steven Spielberg's movies aren't great, but to the ones that are, the movies that are great, man, do they kick ass. He directed the shit out of this movie. The first time you go in, a full 20 minutes and go by, you cannot catch a breath. That scene is shot so perfectly. Like it brings you in so well to how war was back then. It brings in the fear. It's so stressful watching this film in all of the good ways. And the way it's filmed, just it has like this he tries to incorporate this sort of documentary style where everything feels in your face and everything feels like it's happening for real. And what helps that a great deal is the special effects in there. Now, granted, the movie uses a lot of practicals, which, in my opinion, is the best way to go, anyways. You know, everything is happening. Everything is actually happening in front of you. The explosions, the grenade explosions and the gunshots and all that kind of stuff. All those things are happening for real. Not I mean, not saying people are getting hurt for real, but you get what I'm saying. Everything is practical. And by him just deciding to use that choice and not go so visual effects heavy like what Michael Bay does sometimes, it really gave you that sense of urgency. It really made you sick to your stomach about how just brutal these scenes are. It's so stressful and it feels so real. It feels so authentic. Like, honestly, I feel bad for all of the veterans who watched this film for the first time when it came out. I can't imagine what they could have been going through watching this movie because it does such a good job at just bringing in that realness, bringing in that raw energy that those soldiers had felt. And even when you see like just archive footage of World War II back in the day, it really does feel like somebody was like some news reporter was in the trenches as this battle was going on, just recording everything. And I just thought it was such a powerful choice, just such a powerful choice, especially with his choice with handhelds. Like there are certain sequences in here where everything is just one shot. Like even in the beginning scene where you have just Tom Hanks kind of going up to the hill thing, the hill sand thing where he's about to take out the MGs, and you just kind of watch him with all of this stuff happening before him, all of the soldiers, getting shot, exploding everywhere, all of the gunshots, seeing all of these things happen in almost one shot. Now the whole movie isn't all one shot, but just having some of those sequences in there where you kind of just see him running through constantly and kind of seeing all of the carnage happening before you. It was God, it was so riveting. And even just with the B-roll shots, like I love when something's happening, when an explosion kind of goes off near Tom Hanks's head, and it gets into the slow motion sequence where he's kind of like just looking around, kind of blanked out, and kind of having this shell shock moment almost, and you see these B-roll shots of like just what's going on, and I'm gonna tell you why this was so powerful to me. I have a lot of friends, especially relatives, who talk about their war stories and stuff like that, and when you hear these stories, it's easy to, I mean, you can listen, but there's no way you can really feel exactly what they were going through. And one of the things that I liked about that tactic was when something would go off and Tom Hanks is like temporarily deaf. All you can do is feel what must be going on in his head. And what you can feel is the fear, the anxiety, the willingness to go home, the willingness to just question if what he's doing is even right. Kind of questioning what the hell am I even doing here? Like you can see all of that just with the sound effects and the slow motion, even in his face. To see a leader kind of get get affected like that, for a split second, kind of just see where his weaknesses are, in just those in just those 10 seconds, I thought it was very powerful. It's really powerful just to kind of show that a lot of our heroes, it's rest in peace to the guys that died out there. A lot of our heroes that we look up to and the ones that we really hold in high regard have cracks in their armor. A lot of cracks in their armor, and they do a really hard job at like not showing those cracks for the sake of leadership. And when you kind of just see that in a moment, where all the violence is happening around you, and just to kind of see him really feel affected personally from all this stuff going on, I thought it was a real powerful message to show that not all leaders are perfect. Um, Real powerful stuff there. Now, I brought up Tom Hanks for a reason. Let's talk about the acting for a second. Everyone across the board, from Tom Hanks to Matt Damon to Tom Sizemore, everybody. I mean, even just the little soldiers that kind of go in with the little cameos, like the cameo actors that come in. Everybody did an awesome job in this movie. They brought their A game. You can really feel that they really took this seriously, to really incorporate what it means to be a soldier. Tom Hanks's character has like this mysterious aura about him, and what I mean by that is that there's a scene in here where all of the soldiers, all seven of them, are kind of like just walking about, looking for Ryan, and you get a little sense of their personalities in that little bit of dialogue. Like everybody's kind of talking, kind of giving off their personalities about how they feel about the mission, how they feel about war, some philosophies here and there. And Tom Hanks is the only one that doesn't really speak too much. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't really open up as much as you would think. And he doesn't open up until later on in the film, of course. But one of the things that I thought was so powerful was when you catch him alone and he's just crying to himself. The moment before that happens, they lose one of their soldiers. Tom Hanks's character does a really good job at just, you know, pumping up his soldiers, telling them this is war, kind of just, going on with emotions, understanding that this is what we do. This is kind of what it is. But seeing him sort of just gripe to himself, because there's nobody that to gripe to. He even says it in there, like, I don't gripe to you, you gripe to me. I gripe to my superior officer, if that, but to see him kind of just in that moment where there's nobody to gripe to, where he's the only person that's the leader of the pack, and to see him just break down the way he did and just be with his feelings, and can't share that with no one, and even still when he's bawling and all his tears are coming out, he's trying to like keep it together, trying to like make sure he's not. I just thought that was just so relatable. If you're a guy that has to be an example for somebody, if you're a father that has to keep it all together, or has to feel like everything has to, work your way, and when something is not panning out for you the way you want to, I just thought it was such a good message to show that, you know, no matter how far we get in our goals in life and stuff like that, everybody needs to just sometimes gripe. Everybody needs to complain. Everybody needs to just kind of let it out, and it's really, really hard when you have nobody to let it out with. And to just kind of see him go through that emotions, man, that performance was very powerful, man. I mean, that it was a powerful scene for me just simply because I know that in my life there were a lot of things that I had to be responsible for, and I have a wife and I have a kid now, and it's never easy. It's never easy to deal with that kind of stuff. And just when you think things are panning out well and things are going the way you want to, you're always going to have some obstacle. As a man, it's always hard to just really get them to really understand exactly what's going on. And just kind of seeing that scene, it just sat me a little differently. And there's so many quotable lines in this film. Like this dialogue, this script was written so well. I mean, just from the whole, I don't gripe to you, I gripe to my superior officer. That's just such a strong line. The whole every man I kill, the farther away from home I feel. Just so many good, just good gems in there, man. Like like this is not a very, it's not one of those pump me up movies at all. Like the movie is actually very melodramatic, but just because of the way it's written and the way these characters are crafted, it really does make you just kind of want to go out in life and just be like, you know what, it just makes you want to go out and pay respects to all of the veterans. To be honest with you, because it's so much authenticity in this world, and I really, it really makes you appreciate how hard the military fights for this country, man. Like one of the characters that I thought that was going to be annoying the first time I watched it was the Upham character. Now Upham is kind of like this transcriber interpreter, where he's along for the ride because he's the only one of the soldiers that can speak German, and so they need somebody to interpret their way on finding Ryan. And so his character is just so he's just so green, and he doesn't know anything about combat, doesn't know anything about guns or nothing like that. He's just a guy who's behind a typewriter. And so when they chose him, you can just see the nervousness in his face. But I think what made him so entertaining to watch was because I felt like his character was sort of our eyes in this whole thing, if that makes sense. Like you have all of these soldiers kind of knowing what to do, knowing what battle is like, what it's like to fight in a battle, what it's like to, you know, lose a comrade and all those kinds of things. And then to have this Upham character not know any of this kind of stuff, and them kind of joshing around saying, "What are you doing? Don't touch me with your little rat hands," and get the hell back in position. It was just funny seeing them kind of like joshing around a little bit, and then they have this inside joke about FUBAR that he just couldn't get because every once in a while everybody says FUBAR, like when they're talking about you know what's happened to a squad or whatever, and they have these horrible stories about how they crash landed down, and everybody kind of goes FUBAR, FUBAR. It's kind of like their way of saying this is all fucked up, like this war, this country, with all the stuff that we're going through, it's all just fucked up. And they have an acronym for it called FUBAR. And Upham is the only person, like the only fish out of water that doesn't understand what that means. So they tell him like it's German, look it up. He actually goes, "Oh, it is. I don't. Oh, it's German. I couldn't find it in the dictionary." It's almost adorable, but then it's like, dude, like, why are you even here? I think that's what the film actually does until he starts actually warming up to the soldiers and actually becomes a little bit useful. And I'm just glad they gave him something in there to kind of make you actually empathize with him, and then kind of give them a moment where he's not so bad. I mean, yeah, he's an asshole, and he doesn't know shit about war, and he's a liability. But you know what? You cool. It's kind of like that little brother of the group, and I'm glad that they treated him as such and not just some dumbass comic relief. He was actually really good for the squad. Now, one of the scenes that was very disturbing for me to watch, that was just grueling my nerves so much, was when there's a fight happening near the tail end of the third act, and Upham has to assist. And I'm not gonna say what happens, but just to see the cowardice in his face and the fear in his eyes, when I just tell you I wanted to strangle this dude so bad. And then I didn't. All I can do is just shake my head because I hated what he was doing in that scene. If you guys watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but the scene where he has to go up the stairs and help with one of his comrades, and he just had he's just too petrified to move. You want to be like, "What the hell are you doing?" And then you realize after all that is done that he is just a guy that really doesn't know what he's doing. he really is that scared little person, in a fucked up situation. And as much as I was pissed off at him, I can't do nothing but relate to that as well. Because we've all been in that situation where it's like, I want to be there for my teammates and I want to be there for my squads, but I'm also just a weak ass. I'm also a punk, bro. Like this shit scares me, bro. Like it's just all I can do is just feel bad. All I can do is just feel bad. But they gave him something to redeem himself for that, which I did appreciate. But Upham, man, goddamn it, Upham, God. My favorite character though in this whole franchise was the sniper, MVP. That's all I'm gonna say. This dude got the eye of an eagle like I've never seen. This dude was just so badass. Just the fact that he's a man of God and he prays and he starts sniping people through the skull. Dude, MVP, my dude. You were the hero of this film. I don't care what nobody else has to say. Anytime Captain Miller was sitting here saying, so we have this plan hashed out, we're about to do this damn thing, who's gonna go left? And everybody's just kind of looking all like, shit, I think it's a bad idea. But dude was like, no, man, I'll go left. You know what? Yeah, you're damn right you're going to go left. You're going to go left. You're going to give them all them headshots. That's what you're going to do. Man, come on, bro. MVP. That's my dog. That's my dog. And you're invited to the barbecue all the time. You're always invited. Shit. Also, there was just a lot of good character moments, too, in this damn thing. Like just, when Tom Hanks finally talks about where he's actually from and how he's a fucking school teacher who out in Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? And just starts kind of, really unveiling his things about like his wife and stuff like that. It's just there's a lot of good moments in here. Like I said before about the Black Hawk Down movie, this film was definitely a character film first before it was an action movie. I mean, it's more like a drama, really. But I like how they chose to be a film of good characters, good story, and then the action comes after all that, and which I think is a good thing because a lot of things that are memorable about this movie are mostly the characters. Those characters are just so well written and so well crafted and so well acted, and the war scenes, the way Steven directs these war scenes, are timeless. My guy, timeless. Like there is no war scene that I've ever seen recently that can match up to what Steven Spielberg put up in 1998. 1998, guys. 1990 fucking 8. This movie stood ahead of its time. Shit, when it came out at its time. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you have nothing but practicals, nothing but well acted characters, and nothing but just documentary style takes on this war and stuff like that. And then the way it's just feeling like giving it that bloody feel and that very graphic feel to it, man. It was so intense. It was just so intense to see this kind of stuff, man. And honestly, I tried my damnedest to find something that I didn't like about this movie. I really did. I mean, you can think hard about it, but honestly, I got to be honest, man. There's really nothing about this movie that I hated or I didn't like or that annoyed me. Nothing about this movie was bad. It's a near perfect film. It's a near perfect film. I mean, you can talk about the length, but honestly, I wish it was longer. I wish this movie was like it was 3 hours long. I could have gone another 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? I could have gone a whole series just watching this movie. It was such a good movie, man. And yeah, so I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. It deserves a fucking 10 out of 10, guys, because you know what? Some good movies deserve good scores. And I'm not gonna sit here and try to nitpick on things that don't need nitpicking. You get what I'm saying? Because, like I said, I watched this movie a bunch of times. And there are plenty of times where I could have saw something that I didn't like or saw something that didn't really mesh well. Or I caught something that didn't really, could have been left out. But I've seen this movie so many times and just watching it recently, it still holds up. It still holds up. It still entertains me. It still makes me feel good. And it still deserves a 10 out of 10. So I'm giving it a fucking 10 out of 10. God damn it. Shame on the Academy, by the way, for not giving this movie a Best Picture. I mean, when you look up who won Best Picture that year, Shakespeare Love. Are you fucking kidding me? Now look, I saw Shakespeare Love. Okay, it's alright. No, I'm not gonna say it's alright. It's damn good, but it's not Saving Private Ryan damn good. Like it's good, but Saving Private Ryan is damn good. And I look, I guess if you wanted to trade, Schindler's List for that, you can because I know that Spielberg won Schindler's List in '93, and I guess they probably thought, he already got a Best Picture credit. Let's give it to this. But you know what? No, man. Like I don't believe in that. I think good movies deserve credit when credit's due. And Shakespeare Love was not Best Picture of my year. It was good, but it wasn't my favorite. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking? Are you? Wow. So that's my review on Saving Private Ryan. I hope you guys enjoyed that. What's your guys' favorite war film, or what's your favorite film of 1998? Let me know in the comments what you think, and also let me know in the comments what you want me to review next, and then we can shoot a review up here. But until then, see you guys in the next video, and you guys stay safe.